Okay, I have no time for a long-winded intro. I am f***ing addicted to this game. So let's get right into it. Here's 5 characters that I would love to see in Marvel Rivals and what I would imagine their kit to be in no particular order. Starting with the first one, Leather Boy. Gambit.
Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
I think Gambit would be really fun as a strategist, with his left mouse button being a card throw that explodes in a small radius, then dealing damage to enemies and healing allies in that radius. Then his right mouse button would be disrupting card. Gambit throws a card, stunning an enemy unhit. With his shift ability, convert speed, Gambit stores kinetic energy in the boots of an ally or himself, granting them bonus movement speed. He can also use this on an enemy, which then slows them. Gambit's E is accelerate regeneration. Gambit targets an ally, which he then heals over time. With his ultimate ability, Kinetic Storm, Gambit releases a storm of cards in a sphere around him, speeding up allies, slowing enemies, and dealing damage over time to enemies. Gambit's passive is Sharp Edge. Gambit's cards are so incredibly sharp, they're able to penetrate walls without leaving any noticeable damage. So now that Gambit's out of the way, the next one I would like to see is Vision. I would consider Vision a duelist. With his left mouse button, he would shoot an energy beam. He shoots a laser out of his forehead, which deals damage over time. With his right mouse button, he can empower the energy beam. For the next second or two, his left mouse button attack deals extra damage. With shift, he can activate his incorporeal form. Vision makes his body incorporeal, being able to move through walls and projectiles pass through him, so Iron Man's laser beam would still hit. His E is unbreakable form. Vision makes his body incredibly dense, giving him resistance to all damage and allowing him to break destructible environments by just flying through them. With his ultimate ability, Vision enters a state of incredibly high movement speed while continuously firing an empowered energy beam towards his crosshair that deals an area of effect damage and lingers on the ground. And his passive is that he can fly. It's very simple. Then number 3 would be Professor X.
Professor Charles Xavier.
I think he would be a great strategist, with his left click being a Mind Blast, damaging enemies mentally without needing to aim like Scarlet Witch. It would be even better if you don't see the attack, make it the real life player frustrated as well, dealing real life psychic damage. It's all mind games with Xavier. Then his right mouse button, Mental Healing, or maybe Therapy would be a better name. He heals allies mentally without needing to aim. Then his shift ability, Psionic Shield. Professor X summons a shield with his mind, protecting allies from incoming damage and reflecting the projectiles in random directions. His E is Psylink. Xavier mentally links with an ally and can use his abilities and attacks through both himself and the ally. His ultimate, Take Control. Xavier unleashes a mental blast and an aura around him, healing allies once and making enemies attack each other for a short amount of time. With his passive, Sense Life, he can sense enemies through walls and even ping them through walls. And then number 4 would be Octavius.
If I were a rich man.
Who I think would most definitely be a Vanguard. With his left mouse button being Slam, he slams his arms forward towards the target, dealing damage on hit. His right mouse being Sweeping Strike. Doc Ock sweeps all his arms in a cone, stunning enemies that are on the edge of the attack. His shift, Grasping Claw. Octavius throws forward a claw, grabbing either an ally or an enemy to pull them to safety or to danger. With his E, Protect, he covers himself in his arms, becoming invulnerable and immobile for a few seconds. With his ultimate ability, Shield Wall, Doc Ock stretches his arms between 2 walls, forming an extra wall. While in this form, he also gets a massive shield or invulnerability, and when it expires, he lets go of the walls. He is able to use his abilities while using his ultimate. And with his passive, Octavius can climb walls, jump from wall to wall, and hang from ceilings and wall, using his extra arms, all while using his abilities. And then the last one of this video, Carnage.
Hey Carnage, do you know Candace?
A duelist. With his left mouse button, Slash, Carnage slashes his arms forward, dealing damage. With his right mouse button, Feast, Carnage takes a bite of his target, dealing massive damage and executing them if they're below a certain percent of HP. With his shift, Carve, Carnage dashes, inflicting lacerations on enemies hit, making them vulnerable to damage, like with Cloak's Wall. His E, Fear, Carnage slashes in a circle around him, dealing damage over time. With his ultimate ability, Rampage, Carnage grants himself attack speed, movement speed, damage, and bonus lifesteal on attacks and abilities. The duration of this ability resets on a KO. And all of this works very well together with his passive, Lust for Blood. Carnage heals himself when dealing damage with attacks and abilities. Okay, yep, that's about it. I hope you agree with them. They're all incredibly OP, just like all the characters in Marvel Rivals itself, except Black Widow because she's useless. Okay, bye, thanks for watching.